Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, it's been well advertised, but as we head into the very last days of October, watching a lot of cold air spilling into the central U.S., and that includes the entire Corn Belt, a big early winter chill spilling into the region. And over the next 10 days, we're going to watch a couple of storm systems track through the area. Now, the heaviest precipitation as we head through the weekend falling along and east of this corridor here, and that means across parts of the deep south into the mid-south, and then parts of the eastern Corn Belt, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, down into Kentucky and Tennessee, standing to see a chance of 1 to 3 inches of precipitation. Now, we're going to see a couple other storm systems, one or two additional storms developing here across the Central Plains, lifting across this region as we head into next week. Precipitation amounts are a bit unclear, and so that's why I think it does a little injustice showing this map with the big dry area here, because we actually have a chance of some snow accumulating here as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. What I'm showing you here is the GFS probability of at least 3 inches of snow accumulating here between now and 7 p.m. next Thursday. You take a look there, better than 50% odds here that we could get 3 inches of snow here in a corridor from Kansas into Wisconsin. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. So again, when we look at the precipitation forecast and you see dry conditions across the Central Plains here, use caution because there's a chance for some winter precipitation here as we get into mid next week. Now, it has been a quiet last 24 hours across much of the Corn Belt, starting to see some moisture drawn north from the Gulf of Mexico in a storm system that's going to, again, drop 1 to 3 inches of precipitation across this general area as we head through the next 48 hours. Looking at the satellite picture, then we see this. We can see, all the cloud cover streaming northward. This is the developing storm system as it gets its act together here down in Texas. Again, going to be lifting northeast into the eastern Corn Belt as we head through the weekend. Looking at the radar, again, plenty of rain activity already surging northward again from the Gulf of Mexico, once again targeting the eastern Corn Belt in the mid-south as we head into the weekend. We can look at the water vapor here, the precipitable water. So we're looking at the moisture content within the atmosphere. And as we play this, you're just going to watch this continuous stream of moisture feeding up and wrapping around this area of low pressure as it travels into the eastern Corn Belt, again, through the overnight tonight into the day tomorrow. What does that look like then as we look at the simulated radar reflectivity from the high-resolution NAM model? Well, we'll go ahead and we'll step through time here, heading through the day Friday. By the time we get to Friday evening now, the sun goes down on Friday evening. The rain's still having trouble making its way into the Corn Belt, and that's because we have high pressure off to our north. We've got dry air actually feeding in here, so a bit of a competing air mass here as moisture tries to stream northward into the area. We do have dry air feeding in from the north, so it'll be until we get to Saturday morning before we start to see rain moving into this area here, parts of southern Illinois and southern Indiana. So waking up on Saturday morning then, seeing that rain make its way into parts of the eastern Corn Belt, and then a very rainy Saturday for the rest of the day, the afternoon and evening then very wet, very rainy and breezy at times here across the eastern Corn Belt, Illinois into Ohio, and then rain continuing along the front now, extending south across parts of Kentucky and Tennessee into the deep south. So we take this ahead now. We are into the middle of the night on Saturday night, getting into Sunday morning. As we wake up on Sunday morning, watching this pretty much lift out of the area by the time we wake up on Sunday, but perhaps some light rain showers possible still into the day on Sunday across the state of Ohio. Now, as we take a look at the total precipitation accumulation, again, looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain here in the corridor from the Mid-South into the Ohio Valley here, and it's likely going to be a sharp cutoff here on the western edge of things here, where we go quickly from maybe an inch or so of rain to no rain as you go just a short distance west or east across this region. Heaviest precipitation likely going to be found across the south here, across the Mississippi Valley into western portions of Kentucky and Tennessee. That's where we have the best odds of picking up closer to 3 inches of rain. But then as we talk about getting more into the eastern Corn Belt, probably anywhere between 1 to 3 inches from this storm system. Then we need to look a bit further out, and it becomes a little unclear. So here's the disturbance right now making its way through. We're looking at the northern hemisphere 500 millibar potential vorticity plot, height and vorticity. And we need to start watching then the disturbances across Canada as they dive into the region. They're going to be what kicks off the next couple of storm systems here across the midsection of the country, the ones that could bring the chance for some snow to parts of, again, Kansas, Iowa, into Wisconsin. But we have very low confidence in what exactly that looks like as we continue to sift through some pretty big differences between the GFS and the European models here as we kind of take this out. But just showing you the overall evolution. Again, we watch this disturbance here track northward, and then you got to watch Canada for a couple of upper level disturbances swinging into the northern part of the US. So we watch this one dive in. This brings us another reinforcing shot of cold air, and now we're seeing another one coming in on the backside. And it's the interaction between all of these different disturbances that gives us the potential for at least one, potentially two, pretty big storm systems across the central part of the country. And again, we'll just have to watch this over the weekend. You know, Eric and I will be tuned in. By the time we get to Monday morning and Eric puts out his video, hopefully have a higher confidence on if and where we'll see those winter weather impacts. But we can take a look at what the GFS model is spitting out right now, and then I'll exercise some caution on where the differences are. So heading through the first part of the weekend here, this is our Friday-Saturday storm system we're watching swinging in out of the south. We watch this travel through the eastern Corn Belt during the day on Saturday, getting out of here by Sunday morning. Now we're seeing the potential for maybe some very light snow here, some light snow showers as we head through this day Saturday into early Sunday as a disturbance begins to kind of weaken across the northern plains. But now we're watching this first little, it's a weak upper level disturbance swinging out of the Canadian provinces here as we get into Monday. Once again, perhaps bringing some snow showers to the northern Dakotas as we get into the early part of the week. Now we're watching this next storm. Here's what the GFS is advertising, this first little wave to swing through here late Monday into early Tuesday. It makes a quick exit. The GFS a little bit more gung-ho with how, or the European is a little bit more gung-ho, a little more organized with this first wave, and this is the first chance we get for some light snow across parts of the Midwest from Kansas into northern Missouri, parts of Iowa, maybe even northwestern Illinois, getting some frozen precipitation here Monday night into Tuesday. Then we watch for a potentially larger storm system on the European model here. And again, I'm showing you or telling you this as we watch the GFS do very little across the region. You see this this wave. This is where the the European, I apologize once again. I'm looking at the GFS, so it's hard to call it the European. As I jump ahead here, this is where the European has the chance for some more organized accumulating snow and a much more organized storm system here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the reason I put this on here, just playing this out, watching the operational run. So we talk about ensemble forecasts and operational runs. The ensemble, that's where we take a handful of model runs here that run the same model 20 to 50 different times depending on which model you're using, and then we get kind of an averaged output from those, kind of a good consensus forecast. The operational run, that's just one run. That's this is what you see is what you're going to get. Obviously, you don't take it as just straight fact, but as we look at the operational run here, it's leaving this area completely dry as we look at that Wednesday, Thursday time frame. And this is when the European model, if I just want to get crafty here, has an area of low pressure with lots of rain off to the south on this end, but then some snow accumulating on the back end where the GFS completely leaving things out to dry. But when we talk about the GFS ensemble model, that is where we get the average consensus forecast. And if we look at that, that's where we get our better than 50% chance here, getting up towards higher towards 70% chance of picking up at least 3 inches of snow. So the ensemble model does pick up here. The GFS ensemble forecast is picking up on the snow potential here. So it's not completely out in the dark when it comes to catching that midweek storm system, but the operational run right now, not showing it. So this is where we have to just, watch this day by day. Check in with Eric here. He'll give you more details, but it does look like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, especially across parts of Iowa into maybe southern Wisconsin, but that does include potentially, back into Kansas, northern Missouri, northwestern Illinois, perhaps that chance for some accumulating snow as we get into mid next week. Now, what is certain, as we talk about uncertainties, is a lot of cold air sinking into the Corn Belt by the time we get to the middle part of next week, likely sending much of the region well below freezing. As we just talk about the next 5 days, your high temperatures then from the 60s in the west down to the lower 50s, near the 40s in the Great Lakes, the cool spot today. Let's go ahead and bring this back and click through time. Obviously, that was too quick to see anything. Take the drawings off here. Your high temperatures for the day on Saturday, coolest in the northwest. We're in the upper 30s, 50s, and 60s elsewhere. For the day on Sunday, cooler air coming in on the backside here Monday. And then your Tuesday high temperatures not even getting above freezing west of this line here across the Dakotas, parts of northern Minnesota. Overnight low temperatures then for the next 5 days. Once again, bringing this back, your overnight lows as we wake up today below freezing, kind of west of that line, above freezing as you head into the eastern Corn Belt. Overnight lows tonight into Saturday morning. Again, patchy areas below freezing along and west and north of that line. Retreating back to the northwest here as we wake up on Sunday morning, below freezing across parts of the Dakotas into the upper Midwest. Waking up on Monday with cold air sinking into the region Tuesday, below freezing all the way into parts of the eastern Corn Belt and the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video, and I'll be back to talk about the Corn Belt once again on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.